Hello, today is Thursday, March 23rd in the fourth week of Lent. I want you to think about praise today, and I want you to think about positive praise. But where does it come from? Where does it flow from? Our reading today comes from the 5th chapter of John, and it reads, "How can you believe when you accept praise from one another and do not seek the praise that comes from the only God?" Now, Jesus is saying this to his disciples, and he's trying to teach us, a little bit about where that praise should come from. I mean, this short scripture quote, it comes from a lengthy teaching, from Jesus about the difference between human praise and that praise that comes only from God. Our duty as parents, must be always to teach right from wrong, but I think it needs to flow from what is God's will in all of this. Because I think sometimes, that praise that we can give out, it might not have to do with right or wrong, and it may come from the wrong area. We just want to praise them because, praise our kids because we want them to feel good, or we want them to feel like they did the right thing when in reality they didn't. I'll give you an example. There was an incident in my daughter's life many, many years ago in school where I was called in as a parent. You don't want to, get that call. You don't want to have to go to the principal's office, but there was a choice that she had made. In the big picture, she really did make the right choice. But if she would have only done the right thing from the beginning, it would have led her to a better result. Now, I think my daughter wanted me to praise her and say, "Well, Dad, I didn't do A, I did B." Well, reality is she should have done both A and B and did it right. Now, I didn't praise her, but I did say that at least you did try to go in the right direction. But you know what? You should have looked at the big picture from the start. And I think that's what's important is that, when we are giving praise to people, when we are trying to give that positive reinforcement, is it about the right or the wrong, or does it flow from God? That's where it needs to begin with. It needs to come from God, because ultimately it's God's praise that we know the truth about. God's praise is the right way. So I think today we need to reflect upon, the praise that we give or the praise that we even receive. Are we misguided by the praise of others, or do we follow the praise of God and what he wants in our lives? I know sometimes it's a challenge because we want to reward people because, they seem to make that right choice, but they need to look at the big picture, because it's in the big picture that we see that it is God's praise in God's way, and it helps us to see the right direction in our lives. Continue your journey to Easter.